I call the November Convention and Visitors Bureau Advisory Board to set. Kristen's here, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Jeremy's here, I'm here. HC was gonna be absent. Rebecca Pippin, you said was gonna be absent.
Correct.
Kalen's here and Tommy's here. We have a quorum. Was the mayor coming?
I didn't hear from the mayor.
Okay. All right then. Public comments, do we have any?
We do not.
Previous minutes. Can I get a motion on the minutes, please?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Financial statusing. Is that what's next?
Yes. I didn't hear Kalen. I didn't know if she said aye or.
Am I allowed to vote if I wasn't here?
Oh, no,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, you and I, okay.
Yeah, I was.
Thank you.
Oh no, we're in trouble now.
I know. We're gonna be technical.
What's that?
We don't
Well,
have to vote.
Well, I wasn't here either, so I
That's
didn't
what I'm
vote.
Is that enough to
Oh, there's-
pass?
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know how that works.
Pass the minutes.
We'll go with it.
We just wrote it down.
Financial status.
The only thing I was going to share tonight was so fiscal year 18, which ended at the end of September. For the year, the hotel and motel tax was up 17%. But the last two, like third quarter and fourth quarter, we were down a little bit each quarter over the previous year. So that means is the first and second quarter were really fantastic. So it's gonna be super interesting what this current quarter and the next, what that looks like for fiscal year 19. Looking at, going back to like the past 18 years, fiscal year 18 was the best hotel and motel tax year we've had. So going like the farthest back I could find was fiscal year 02. So, and it's interesting looking at like 02 through fiscal year like 2011-ish. That's kind of like a plateau across that decade. And then we started this like kind of upward trend starting in fiscal year 2012. 13 and 14 were kind of quick jumps up. We came back down a little bit in 15, and then it's been an increase from there. But so FY18, like as a whole, was the best year at least since 02, and I don't have stuff going back further than that. So that's interesting, and it'll be interesting to see like what this first quarter looks like. If
So
you
the
Go ahead.
first quarter is from October, November, December,
Yeah.
January?
just
Or,
October, November, December.
yes, great.
And looking back, it's not like that's a big jump every year. Like looking back over like the last 4 or 5 years, it kind of does like this thing where there's not like a rhyme or reason per quarter. So at first I was like, oh, maybe that's always, maybe the first quarter is always a big jump, but it's not. So I don't know what that means in terms of last year's first and second quarter, but they were really good. So it'll be fascinating to see what this quarter looks like when it's all said and done. So, any questions about that stuff? Okay. And I'll pass this around in case anyone wants to take a look at this graph of like the last 16, 17 years. It's kind of just interesting to see like kind of how that trajectory looks like.
That it?
Yes, sir.
Good deal, thank you. Discussion and possible action on application for event support. Tommy, you're on.
I'm on. Okay, what we're asking, we do 3 to 4 shows here a year. Those each cost us about 5,000 to put on. So we're asking for 1,000 in total, and it's not just giving us that, because we're gonna put you on the back of the shirts. A 3-foot by 6-foot color banner, with a logo, and that's hung at every event, whether we do it here or the 2 shows we have scheduled for Proto this year, or wherever those banners go and hang with us everywhere. We would use that for advertising and, getting that out there. We also work with a place called Roll the Wreaths. They would also put the Guthrie logo on all of their national websites and stuff and help push it there too. And if y'all wanted to, the shows here or wherever we were, we could bring the Visitors Bureau desks set up, you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. The information table.
Yeah, and our last show, even as nasty as the weather was, we drew 300 people. And we personally paid for 8 rooms at the Pollard, bed and breakfast, and Jaded Getaway. And I think we had 3 at the Holiday Inn. And we use that, like I said, for advertisement, not necessarily to pay for our talent, but we put out a bunch of posters. We put out over 1,000 posters every show. And of course, the logo would be on that. We put out at least 200 programs that go in people's hands. And we've had people from as far away from California attend these shows. We don't use local talent from Oklahoma hardly at all. So they're all coming in, and they're bigger names now. So, like Bosworth, you can just put his name on a poster and people want to come see Brian Bosworth's son. And it's like, it's a stepson, but okay. They look just alike. I don't know how that
Still got the
happened.
name.
He does have the name and the exact look. And like I said, I pretty much take care of everything myself, so there's not, until we get to the show, there's 3 people that help me. And then when we get to the show, we have my entire concession stand of 10 peoples from out of town, so I've got to put them in motel rooms too. So, it's going back, and of course, the guys aren't here for just a couple hours, they're here for 2 days, sometimes 3, so they're eating, getting out in town and doing things of that nature. So, what we were asking for was, 1,000 a year, or 500 a show, whichever that worked out, but like I said, we do 4 shows a year, so we're not gonna, we do 2 at the fairgrounds, and those are our big shows, and those are the ones we count. And we've seated upwards of 700 people at a time. And we're the number 10 in the entire United States, which doesn't sound great until you realize there's over 3,000 better issues. The funny thing is, the top 2 of the top 10 are right here in Oklahoma.
So this is not what happens on Harrison, that they do sometimes on the street, this is a different,
It is my company that does it on Harrison, but it is totally different than that show, yes. That is done because Vaughn and those guys give us sponsor money to have our advertising money to hang their banner. And it's kind of a courtesy we do to them to put it out there.
cool. And then you said your concessions, people are not from here.
No, they're my mother and my family.
Oh, okay. So the $300, $350 a person is just for them to stay overnight?
Yes, to stay and
Okay.
feed them and
Gotcha.
take care of them.
Okay,
And like I said, we got to pay their gas up here.
right.
People say that's wasteful, but I lose a lot less money when my mom's running it than somebody else. I hate to be that way, but
We like
And
mom.
this is your 2nd year, 3rd year?
this is our 5th year.
5th year?
5th year coming up. So we're here to stay. We've got too much. We put a lot of our own money into the fairground building this year. They put in all new lighting. Well, it wasn't what we needed to light just the ring, which was what we were trying to get back to, is away from the entire building lit up and put the focus back on the ring, like any production. And so we put 400 in lights in there. We're putting another, of course, they're buying the equipment, but we're putting a brand new sound system in for them, and we designed it and we're providing the labor, so that's gonna help them be able to pull in bigger events, because I mean, yeah, they got 420 speakers in there, but they're this big around. So we're pulling all that junk out and putting regular three-way speakers, 12-inch speakers.
And Tommy, what your vision for the next 2 to 5 years? Or
Well,
where are you headed with this?
Well, we had a 5-year plan that we're ahead of to get to where we can bring in bigger name talents and quit using I hate to say quit using the local guys, but they're not as well trained, they're not as good a wrestlers. Those are the ones you see on Harrison, they're the local guys. And now we have guys like Moonshine Mantell, Johnny Mantell, the Hall of Famer, Andy Dalton. We lost one this week because he signed with TNA. Brad Sanders, just bringing in bigger and better names, and we want, I don't know, everyone's got this stigma about pro wrestling, independent, which is what we are, that you can't break 1,000 people in a building. Well, we got 700, so I think we can do 1,000. So,
What's the most you can fit in that building?
when we had 700, it looked half empty. So I'm thinking we could get at least 12 to 15 safely.
If you outgrew that place,
There is no other place.
nowhere else to go, just be more events, I guess?
Yeah, there, we could do the high school gym, but unless I'm doing something to give some money to the high school, I don't like doing that. We've worked with Buffalo Valley schools, and they guaranteed us, I think it was 300 tickets, we split the tickets, they kept all the concessions. Basically, it comes down to we make 2,000 a show and they keep everything else. But if you tell them, hey, you gotta sell X amount of tickets at this price and you get half, then everyone's guaranteed their money and nobody loses. So, and they did well. They ran the 2,000 at the door and they ran another 2,000 in concessions. And I was thinking I shot myself in the foot. But we are licensed, bonded, and all that by the State of Oklahoma Athletic Commission. We all have to have physicals, blood tests, all that once a year.
Do you have insurance?
Our insurance is covered under our bond through the state.
Okay. Okay. And then did you do an event in October?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
That's the one that it rained, it was nasty, and we still drew 300 people.
Okay.
And we had a lot of bigger names in, and it was probably our best show we've ever had. I say that about everyone, except for the street shows. I mean, they're kind of weak. But I say,
Turnout wise, you mean?
huh?
The street shows are weak turnout wise?
This year it was, because I tried to tell Vaughn and them, we need to wait till it gets darker and find out how to light the ring. Well, we did it at 3:30 in the afternoon, everybody's still at home. So we had maybe 150 people. But I was down there later that evening and everybody's like, where's it at? It's over? So next year we'll do it in the street. And I've got a lot of the bigger name guys now willing to come in for free on that weekend, because I don't pay them on that weekend. Nobody gets paid. I just have to pay the state. Because they charge us for every show regardless of what we get. They get 5% of the gate, 5% of concessions, 5% of everything we sell, plus an assessment fee and a license, or an event permit. So, and then they get a yearly license and the bond and all that, so it's not cheap. But yeah, it's our 5th year and we're kind of proud of where it's went, actually. So.
Which show was it that drew 700?
700 would have been the one that we thought we really messed up and booked it on the weekend of homecoming, which we're gonna do again this year. We're gonna go before 89ers and then homecoming weekend for sure, and possibly put another one in during that.
So that was last year, or?
That was the year before last.
Okay.
Last year we ran October 13th was one, and then we ran in May, which was extremely hot and didn't work out so well. We still had 400 people, but everyone was about to die of heat stroke, even with the fans, so we decided to back it up to April. So, and that would put y'all on, or us, whatever, on our Facebook page. We do not have a web page at this time. We're working on that. We do have a Facebook page that has, I think it's 1,500 followers, 2,000, something like that. I have a guy, my best friend takes care of that out of Texas.
So what are your plans for the rest of this year for shows in Guthrie?
Of this year, you mean till January or this quarter?
Well, actually, through what would be Guthrie's fiscal year, which would be through September.
Through September, we have April 13th here in Guthrie. We have the 1st of May in Poto. We'll be in Colorado April 27th. And then we'll be back here. That's probably going to be whenever homecoming is, October usually. So we'll be back here for that, for sure now.
Okay.
Oh, so that's what the breakdown is, the 500 per show
Right.
here?
Yeah, that's why it was per year.
Well, because we can't finance anything in the future fiscal year.
Right,
So city's fiscal year is October,
mhm,
so we can either back finance the October show, or just give him 500 for the April show. And then he would have to reapply
right.
next fall.
And that was my fault, I drug my feet on this, I waited too long to get it in before October. I think I turned it in like 2 weeks before the show or
Yeah.
something. We decided to set on it.
Any other questions?
Average distance to be traveled, 30 to 60 miles by the attendees.
That's average. We had people all the way from Texas this time. There were 6 or 7 of them. We've had them from as far away as California. A lot of that depends on who I book. If I book Moonshine Mantel and Andy Dalton, you're gonna have people from Dallas up here without problem.
Okay.
They're just trying to get that last glimpse of them before they leave for WWE. Same with Brian Bosworth. We are trying to work a contract with him to where he's stuck here for 5 years, but he can still work for us when he leaves for WWE in October of next year. So,
Do you have any kind of idea of how many people from Guthrie, Edmond, Stillwater area come?
if we have 300, I would say 250 of those are from this area,
Okay.
so easy. And if we have 7, you could probably knock it down to 6. For about every 300, we have probably 40 to 50 from out of town. Of course, there's a cap on that. People are only gonna drive to see a little hero. And if they're not on TV anywhere, then they're not gonna drive. So we've had to put a little more money out for that, but.
By chance, have you done any follow-up to see exactly, or like, do you have any way of tracking exactly where they're staying whenever they come into town?
No, I don't, but we've thought about adding on the back of the tickets that we sell, like where you're from, are you staying the night, whatever. I know all of my guys, I bring 20 to, if you count my concession people and stuff, 20 to 40 people in to do these shows. 20 of them are wrestlers. Those wrestlers are staying here. They're eating here. They're not gonna go rent a car, so. Usually, if we don't fly them in, if they're from Dallas, 4 to 5 of them will ride together. Of course, we pay their gas, and we put them at the Pollard or Holiday Inn. They seem to like the Pollard because they're right across the street from the jungle.
Okay.
We'll leave that there.
Enough said.
Yeah. Just saying.
Economic impact.
It's
Yeah.
positive.
I wouldn't want to pay their taxes.
So these events do not have alcohol?
No, they do not.
Is there a reason?
Yes, the Logan County Fairgrounds does not allow that.
Gotcha.
And with the work we do with them, they make us such a good deal that it would be almost, we can't even rent a fairgrounds anywhere around here for close to that price. So they're going up on their rates this year, by the way, from $150 a night to $500. So But since we do so much, they're gonna try and keep us down, maybe not at 150, but at least at 250.
So it's like, it's a per event rental, not a lease for the year?
Yeah,
Oh,
and they let us keep the ring set up down there so we can train,
Oh, that's cool.
which is our next move, is to get a training facility, and I can train them under 18, but I can't get them licensed. And I would prefer to have kids over 18, but some of the people talked to us about what we did in Poto. We trained them at 16, 17, had them ready to wrestle by the time they were 18, and it helps so little to keep some of the kids off the street. Because you're usually gonna get the rowdy ones come down there. And you put really stringent rules on them. You pass school, you get in any trouble, you just don't come back.
That sounds like it would be great for our community to have something like that, a training program set up.
And I've got two of my guys from Texas moving up here for other reasons. They haven't been in it as long as me, but they're qualified to train for sure. One of them's my tag partner, so we would juggle it out. I would probably do 2 nights a week. He would do 2 and someone else would fill in, or we'd all do 2 nights or something. Get it to where we're doing 3 to 4 nights a week with them. And as they get to 16, 17, get waivers, take them to other shows in Tulsa or Oklahoma City and all that. And we do have 2 sister companies in Oklahoma City that we're kind of just trying to buy them out, honestly, which would put all of this advertising at their shows too, which they're in Spencer and the Farmers Market in Oklahoma City right now. But they're only seating about 60 people, and they don't understand why. They hang 20 posters. And we do Facebook advertising, the boosting of it and stuff.
Any other questions? You get to leave
I gotta
now.
go. That phone rings
So we
fast.
can talk about you behind your back,
Yeah, I
at
said
least.
that all through that fire.
Okay.
Just sit there and turn on the channel.
Okay. Issues, comments, thoughts, motions?
Just budget-wise, for the event support for the year, if we supported the typical events like we have in the past, so like, Bluegrass and 89ers and Christmas and Red Brick Nights, the amount similar to the past. This year, that leaves us at about $5,000 in that event support category to go towards other things, like this or whatever. So just so you know, that's what's budgeted for the year.
And so because only one of their Guthrie, well, let me back up. Are we talking about helping fund him even for the events that take place outside of Guthrie? Is that?
I don't think so.
No.
Because so far he's got one in this calendar year, and he's requesting $1,000 a year or $500, right?
For the event.
For each event, so
Yeah.
he does 2 events locally, he'd like 500 for,
Yeah, I took it.
So, but the 1,000 is kind of off the table because only one of them falls into this calendar year.
correct, cause he's already done an event.
So, okay.
So that's what I was asking you all, do we go back, give him 500 for the past event? I would say no, because he didn't get the application in a timely manner.
Okay.
Now, the next one is
April.
an April event, that gives us plenty of time. That actually gives us 2 more quarters, and $500, we could see, he's a first timer. So he's not a repeat asker per se. He is doing it locally, we could just monitor and see how he does on the first one, and then he can reapply for the next fiscal year in a timely manner come next year.
Right.
To be clear, sorry, one more time. The April 13th is not the one that's on Harrison. Like
Yes,
neither,
it is.
it is.
Right there on the first page.
Is that?
No, it's not on Harrison though. That's,
Now,
Oh,
the
yeah.
April
It's in
13th
Harrison?
one is at Logan County
No,
Fair.
right, okay.
Yeah,
I
the
thought
one
you
that's
said
on Harrison
because
is the one
he's
that the jungle does.
yeah, that's separate from this stuff.
So it's just his company's name, but not his funding. Is that how that works?
Yeah, that is funded by the jungle.
Okay.
The jungle hires him to put that together for their event.
Gotcha.
I can't, the name slips me
The
right now.
jungle jam.
Oh, yes.
Now, keep in mind too, and it shouldn't affect it that much, April 13th next year is right before 89ers. It would be
In the week before.
It'd be the Saturday before 89ers.
Right.
I mean, that shouldn't be a big effect, but it is the Saturday before 89ers, so. But I mean, he did give us a budget. He is using local hotels, so that's a plus.
I'm curious, like I said, I'm curious to know, especially, I mean, I guess if we do one as a test to kind of see how it goes, what the room nights generated are. Just kind of curious to know.
Well, keep in mind, they have to turn in a post-event recap afterwards.
Mhm.
So by the time he would come back and ask for more money for next October, he would have hopefully turned in something to us and Justin
Yeah.
on the April event.
I mean, I think he's only asking for 10% of what he spends.
Which is really low for,
Yeah, I think, like we're basically just paying for advertising and we get to have our logo on all of it. So
Yep.
I think it's more than fair.
so what is the motion then?
I'm
The 500?
Yes.
Yes. That makes no sense.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay. So Kalen motions for 500.
Kristen seconds.
Okay. I'm sorry, I just. Kristen seconds for 500 to assist him with his April show. All in favor?
I
Aye. Motion passes.
Allow back in.
Yes, sir.
We will give you $500. And he will get you all the stuff and what you need to turn in and all that good stuff.
And then next fall, we'll just reapply for the
Yes,
other one.
yes. A little earlier than that, yes,
In a
please.
timely fashion.
All right. Okay, on item 6, I am requesting that we table the Military Veterans Rodeo. Couple of things as I looked over the paperwork's incomplete.
it's missing a bunch.
There's no budget. Mr. Casey is out of town and could not make it tonight. And this is, his third year we've supported him. So I think to be fair to him, we table it till our next meeting.
He's had some health issues.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's-
And I think there's an issue with the lease too expiring. He's been wanting to do bull riding and wrestling in the same building, and I'm like, dude, crazy.
He met with the city manager and me about a month ago, and I think his current lease is still, like, he has it through another,
One more year.
yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Then it's a matter of whether he, he wants to establish a committee to kind of carry that lease forward, or how he wants to do that, but he's got it for another year or two, something like that.
I just heard him.
So I just think to be fair to him, unless someone's got an objection, but with no budget and him not here, I don't know that it's fair.
Yeah.
I don't think that, since it's, November, I don't think he has anything coming up soon that he would, that it would, you know, put him in a bind to have it tabled, I don't believe.
So we will table it, and I will make the motion, we table it until the December meeting. Because I think if I either that or I take no action on it when he gets back to us. Mayor, help me
You
here.
can take no action.
If I
You can
can,
take
I'll
no
take
action.
no action, then
And
when
it's
he gets back
automatically-
to us, we'll add it to the agenda. Are you guys cool with that?
Yes.
Okay,
That'll automatically happen.
okay. So Justin, you'll reach out to him and get the correct stuff and
Okay, so it's
everything?
not automatically just being bounced to December, it's just whenever he gets, you know, what's needed, then we add it to an agenda.
Right.
Okay,
So if
I
we
can
come-
table it, but I have to set a specific date to table it, which
Got it.
would be December. I don't know that he'll have all the paperwork in 4 weeks ready for you,
Okay.
so let's no
If
action
you
it.
take no action, then you're not setting an exact date.
Yep,
Gives him more time.
yep,
Sounds good.
let him gather all his stuff together. Thank you. Staff comments, Verla.
Yes?
See, I went with you for, he's already talked, so you're,
Oh,
other than it's parade weekend and
yes.
really?
territorial
Where's the
governor,
5 days.
we retire one and hopefully, yes.
Yeah, this is a governor-laden council, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So, well, I feel kind of confident because a lot of people have been very generous in their voting for me, which is great. But I've kind of promoted Jerry and also Shonda, so they've got some votes too, and it all goes to a good cause. So I think we're gonna have great weather on Saturday in the 50s, and we'll have a lot of fun at the night parade. And
Is that this
Christmas
weekend?
committees. It's this, yeah, it's the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
It
Great.
creeps up on you fast.
I can't believe it's already here.
Again,
So, just so people know, there's food trucks out there at 5 o'clock. Is
Yeah,
that correct?
yeah.
And
we're-
then at 6 o'clock, the parade starts from, where does it start from?
the temple.
The temple, all the way.
Yep.
I'm asking because I get to walk. So,
I
wear
do too. I like it. I
I'm
like
gonna
that
have-
attitude.
tennis shoes underneath my Victorian dress.
They're not gonna give you a ride or something?
Just the candidate.
we can borrow a golf cart or something.
They're actually gonna pass out flyers to the pedestrians to let people know to go to the Guthrie Depot after everything, because we're doing our Christmas tree walk there for the first time ever. And it's, a couple blocks down, so we just want people to
Cool.
remember that that's going on, and
Well, and won't it have the future dates of the December 8th and December 15th to remind people back to the Victorian walk? Yes, no?
well, yeah, but
I thought
that,
it would be.
the rat card has that, but the flyer I'm talking about is just specifically about the tree
Oh,
walk that
okay.
night, because we
That's
just wanna get everyone we can to head that direction after the ceremony. To expound on the Christmas stuff really quick, opening night has reached organically 140,000 people through social media. And at this point, if even just 5% of those people come, it's like a really good turnout. But because the weather's supposed to be beautiful, I have been working overtime to make sure everyone who's coming from out of town knows where you can sleep, where you can eat, what's going on, and we are getting really, really good feedback from all of it, so we expect a really great event.
We'd like to hear that.
Yeah,
And if you want a carriage ride through the streets of Guthrie, it's that night,
yes.
correct? It's not the other night. So opening night is carriage rides too.
Mhm.
Cool.
And so look forward to that. I will say that there is a rodeo event that we've supported this weekend at Lazy E. It's called the Rising Stars. That's I just went blank on his name.
Chris Neal.
Chris Neal, yes. And so we'll have a booth out there, it won't be very well attended, but we'll have our information out there. And I did that at the last event a couple weeks ago where the information and greeting was available. We didn't man it very much, but we actually put the information at the registration table so people could pick up instant information on where to go to eat, where to go to do things in Guthrie. I just made a quick little flyer that listed a lot of places. I think that was more effective actually, because people are there to register, start competing, and some of these events don't really have a lot of people walking around, they're there to compete. But if they're picking up the information at their first table, they have it about Guthrie.
And I believe we sponsored him, correct?
Yes, we
Yes,
have.
okay.
in
Okay,
this year and
cool.
previous years. So,
Justin, anything to add?
Yes, I have things plural to add. First one is a logistical question. Next month's meeting is December 17th. I just wanted to kind of get like a little bit of feedback on, is that a date that you guys feel good about making? I know it's just bonkers around that time of year, trying to do anything. So you don't have to tell me tonight, but if you know for sure that that's just the world's worst date for a meeting, let me know. But that's what's scheduled for next month, December 17th. So just so you know, and we can plan for that. Some calendar things, movie-wise, we had like a long run of movie crews in here, pretty much nonstop for a while. We've had a little bit of a break. The next one that is going to be filmed is a movie about Bass Reeves, who was an African-American sheriff around frontier parts of the United States. They're filming in December. And it's going to be a little bit tricky for them to kind of figure out location stuff with all the holiday things going around. But the producer has been talking with Tenny in Public Works about some options for doing certain things. It's not a huge film, but then in January, I've totally forgotten the name of this movie, but in late January there's a small level action movie being filmed, and I think they're going to be utilizing the Armory for some of for a location to shoot in there, and as well as I think the producer mentioned they might be using the depot and maybe a couple other spots around town.
If they're low budget, good luck.
Yeah.
Adam knows all about the movie industry.
Yeah.
He will not give it away.
Cool. Cool. So that's all I have on the calendar for like movie stuff. Okay, let's go to. First of all, for those of you who know Dr. Ringrose, he invited me over to his house last week, and he's had a few fun things he wanted to give me. There's some old newspaper clippings with some kind of cool old photos in here. A program from a dinner from 1981, and just some kind of fun things. This is a pamphlet that was put together by the gifted and talented children from Guthrie schools from I can't remember what year this was. Anyway,
That's the year you were here,
right?
gifted and talented.
Right. So some fun things if you want to look at those after the meeting, and also some these are a couple books that my mother gave me.
Oh my gosh, I have that book.
Lisa.
They're really pretty amazing. If you haven't looked through these before, these books have just some wild photographs. That book has something really cool that I hadn't seen before. I'd seen photos of the old Ione Hotel before. It has a photo of it being torn down that I hadn't seen. That was kind of just an interesting, depressing photograph to take a look at.
Interesting. Depressing.
Yeah.
Interesting, depressing photograph.
So on the social media side of things for this month, Instagram-wise, we crossed the 2,000 follower barrier this month. So that was just like, I remember there was one particular day we were like 9 people shy of that, and I was like, are we ever going to cross that? Then like 2 days later, we got kind of a rash of followers, and I did a little dance. So since last meeting, we're up 75 followers on Instagram. In terms of like what the content has looked like like the top 2 posts this past month, the reach was around, for these top 2, 972 and 820. So out of our 2,000 followers, our posts that have done the best almost hit about half that mark. The 2 that did the best, like the one post was just a collection of photographs of the murals around downtown. That one,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was really
So,
cool.
actually, I did print these off to hand out, like I'm an organized person. So pass that around. That kind of gives you an idea of how, that's actually on the Facebook side of things, but go ahead and pass that around. The other one, just to kind of give you an idea of how random the success of Instagram posts could be sometimes. Like one morning, I just took a picture down Oklahoma Avenue, kind of just randomly, and then this was a Friday morning, and then I captioned it with some kind of like little pep talk kind of thing, like, "Hey, you guys have a great weekend." And that ended up being like the second best post for the month, which is just kind of bizarre and a little bit maddening, but whatever. But on average, we hit about, for the reach of a Facebook or an Instagram post, where our reach is around the 700 mark. So that's kind of what we're looking at Instagram-wise. And on Facebook side of things, we're up 41 followers since last month's meeting. We're at about 6841 for a total of followers. So here's some interesting things that I thought I want to walk through. So in terms of some numbers to give you a kind of perspective on some trajectory, I guess. This is small for the other side of the room, I apologize. But so September, October, November, for the last 3 months, like our average reach on a Facebook post has been about 2,100 people. So about a third of our total followers, in which, like, as Facebook throttles things, I feel pretty good about that. The 3 months previous to that were a little bit better, 2,300 average. Then if you go back 3 more months, we're at about 1,400, and then before that, some 925. So our trajectory is, like, I feel pretty good about that trajectory. I feel like I should use like animal. I think I just got fired. But to give you a little bit of a more idea of what our average is for different posts on Facebook. So even though like the last 3 months our average reach is about 2,100, that's also about the average for like a photo post. So if you post a photo or photos and with a caption, that's about what we're hitting. When we're able to post a video, that average jumps up significantly, about 4,500 folks on a video. If you're posting like a link or sharing a video, it gets down into like the 1,600, 1,700 people reach. With just like a generic status post with no photos or no videos or nothing, it's about 642 people reach. Those are kind of just throwaway posts almost. On the video note, what is something that's kind of fascinating, and I'll go ahead and pass these around too. Just kind of gives you an idea of the top videos that we've posted for this month, and the categories over here. These are minutes watched per video, so that's how I kind of ranked the most popular videos for the month. Ranked it by how many minutes of it were watched. So like the top video, people watched 1.9 thousand minutes of, combined all the minutes watched for that. So that kind of gives you the top videos watched for the month. Okay, so here's something that was fascinating to me, and obviously the videos are our most engaging thing with our Facebook outreach. But what's fascinating is the audience retention of these videos. So like this is some information about the 4 most popular videos over the last year. And what's fascinating to look at, each one of these has just a little chart that says, here's 93% of your audience was watching this video at about the 10-second mark. At the 45-second mark of that, this was a 2-minute and 31-second video. At 45 seconds, we had pretty much lost all of our audience. So it's kind of, this shows the attention span of people who are watching videos on Instagram, or at least watching our videos on Instagram. And I think this is probably across the board in terms of just the general human attention span.
Short.
Yeah, like if you look at these graphs, we're losing people at about like the 45-second mark to a minute. I mean, obviously, we're losing them immediately starting that downward slope, which is just kind of natural. People will, they'll click on it, watch a few seconds, then we slowly start to lose people. Talking with Aaron, I think what we might be looking at in the future is trying to, in terms of just effort, putting more effort into shorter videos as opposed to massive amounts of effort into the longest one in this batch was a did I put it in here? Oh yes, so this was a 7-minute piece that the city did on the new Dominion House, the hotel and restaurant, which is a fantastic piece, really well done, and it was one of our we had I can't remember how many people were kind of engaged with that. It was one of our most popular videos for the year. But so out of that 7-minute video, at about the 1:45 mark, everybody's gone. People just didn't. Very few people watched past that 1:45 mark. So we're looking at the possibility of trying to have more videos, but at a shorter time period. So we can kind of hit that, if our average reach is 4,500 per video, we want to hit that 4,500 more often and not worry quite as much about trying to get people's attention at the 5-minute mark.
Yeah.
So is this, may I ask, is this for Facebook or is this for Instagram?
That's for Facebook.
This is for Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay. Another thing that you can do, if you don't want to sacrifice the creating, 7 minutes of a really great video featuring something, is you can always do 10-second or 20-second clips or teasers, something to catch interest, and again, you can direct them to where they can see the full content. And so that way, you can kind of pepper out little things to catch their interest. Because if I'm not mistaken too, another reason that it starts off and then immediately starts dropping is that Facebook also counts when people are just scrolling through their feed. So they'll see a video start automatically playing, they'll watch it for a few seconds and then keep scrolling. And so that's also the same for Instagram too. And so that initial, like I was saying before, the initial few seconds of content has to be really engaging to make them want to stop and stay and keep looking at it. But you can always kind of capitalize on that by, even if you make a 7-minute video, creating small shorts, different features inside that video to kind of capture more interest and direct them somewhere else to watch the full thing and engage a little bit more.
Cool, for sure.
And along with that, even myself, when I'm doing the scrolling through Facebook thing and I see a video and I stop and watch a few seconds, if I see that it's longer than a minute, I'm like, never mind.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I like the idea of teaser clips with a link to a website or whatever, where if you want to see the rest of this, click here. That way it's not skewing our statistics on our video, because it's not necessarily that the videos are boring, but it's just I don't have 7 minutes to sit here and see
It's
this.
a time commitment.
So,
And it's not necessarily looking at the number of the reach and engagement for the different videos. The duration of the video isn't hurting the reach and engagement, but we're just kind of we're just losing people for a chunk of the video. So we're just kind of wondering, okay, can we redirect that time and effort to to hit more people?
And you can even break up something, 7 minutes of feature like that, into small 30-second chapters even, like, you know, figuring out a way to segment your content then in that case, instead of doing a huge video, again,
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
capitalizing on that shorter blip of information, because that's the average attention span on social media anyway.
But then does that go to a website where they see the complete one?
I don't see why you couldn't do both. I mean, figuring out a way to create small chapters and then have one video that's, if somebody is really committed to watching all the way through, somewhere else, YouTube, on a website, that they can see it all put together without having to click on different videos.
But is that what you mean by directing them somewhere to see it? Is that what you mean by that?
Oh, yeah, well, having the link somewhere else where they can view the whole thing. In full. Yeah, absolutely.
I think this kind of just verifies what you're saying. It shows at the bottom 97% auto-played and 3% checked play. So, yeah.
I mean, Facebook knows what it's doing. If it automatically starts playing it, then I'll stop, like she said, and like look at it. Versus if I have to physically move my finger and press play on it, I just keep scrolling. Like that's the level of laziness that we've reached in social media.
Unless it's shiny, you really
Yeah.
don't want to do that effort.
So our come home video is 3 minutes, 3 minutes plus?
The entire video is 3+. We also have a 30-second spot and a 15-second spot
Okay.
that we've, that Aaron's created. And that, it doesn't, the thumbnail for the video is not a blank screen. That was just, that's what Facebook did to it for some
It's
stupid
dark.
reason, for that.
Well, and I know,
report.
and I know part of that branding is the sound,
Sure,
is the sound.
sure.
And I think that in time is going to be, I think, very positive.
Yeah.
I know, come to
When
think,
people
autoplay
just-
plays on mute.
Mhm.
That's a music video.
Yeah, interesting.
I do have a couple things about, any other questions about like social media stuff before I go to the mouse, anything else? I know you wanna get out of here. I got like 5 more minutes and,
You are killing my record.
sorry. Oh,
I've got one more thing.
when, oh, okay, good. Alright,
Come back to it.
talking about the coming home video.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen that, you can go to the Facebook page and scroll down a little bit. You can find the full version of it. We're also running the 30-second version of that. Is on, I think, the next 3 weeks of Discover Oklahoma. So if you watch that at 6:30 on KFOR, I always get that. Yeah, KFOR, the Channel 4, yes. The 30-second version of that video is going to run with that show, and we also have a little like segment sponsorship that says, you know, that this previous section was brought to you by the city of Guthrie. So that's the next 3 Saturdays, and
What about the 15-second one?
the 15-second version of that, we're gonna run with some like YouTube like pre-roll. Like so, if you go to like a if you do like a YouTube search for videos, we'll have the 15-second version will be like an advertisement that people will see on YouTube running before certain videos that they've searched for. And I think, did I mention anything earlier that I forgot to talk about?
Nope.
He wouldn't tell you if you did.
He's like, I'm hungry, I'll get out of here.
He told me, he says, this is gonna be a quick meeting tonight. Yeah, right, okay.
But I have one challenge. I have one challenge for you as a board. If you'd like to dress up for this wonderful event that we have, find some old hat or do something where you're walking around the streets representing Guthrie in the Victorian walk. If you need suggestions of where to find some an outfit, I think you'd look cool in a top hat.
Yeah,
Mike.
right.
I really do.
I think not.
But I just wanted to mention, and maybe I did last month, but that we'll have the tourism booth in the gazebo, the recently cleaned gazebo. Not yet, but in a few days.
It will be recently cleaned soon.
Soon. And we're looking for volunteers that want to be in there and help serve hot apple cider, and to greet. We'll have a little flyer that tells about our our legacy events that we've talked about here on our board, about the, the big ones that, what do we do in Guthrie? Because there'll be a lot of people coming from other towns. So they need to know about 89ers in April, as well as the other ones. It's just a very friendly little card to give people about what else you can do in Guthrie. So that's a challenge to the board members. If you want to take some time on December 8th or December 15th, we'll be there from 5 to 9.
So that's just on the 2 days of the walk,
In the
2
gazebo.
Saturdays, okay.
Another challenge, quick challenge. Like,
I'm up to challenge.
Challenge, yes.
anytime you have ideas for social media posts, please let me know. Because there are some days when I'm just going cross-eyed, trying to think of, something that would be fantastic to post on social media. So all the help we can get for just, content to put on there is appreciated.
Very good. Thank you, guys.
Thank y'all.
You've had a busy month. Any comments from the board? Anybody got anything to add? Anyone got agenda items for December that we have to get to Justin that we? Hearing none. Mayor, you got anything? Did we miss anything? Mayor's packing up.
I'm afraid to say anything. I'm within reach here.
Phone over.
All in favor of adjournment?